Good afternoon and welcome to our class. This is Energy and Society, and my name is Sarah Gonzalez, and I will be the instructor for our course over the next 8 weeks. So a little bit about me before we get started here with our webpage here and kind of looking at what is due for the week. I've been an instructor here at SNHU for about a year now. I teach mainly in the life sciences, so you may have me in an environmental class or a biology class, maybe even a sustainability or energy class like now. So my background is very strong in the sciences. So I have an undergraduate degree in biology, and I hold a master's degree in environmental science and policy with a concentration in community resilience disaster recovery. As a career, I was a permitter for the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. So I was what's called an engineering specialist, and by no means I am a non-engineer whatsoever, but I did a lot of permitting to allow certain projects. So for instance, I'm very knowledgeable in soil identification, wetland regulations, marine seagrass surveys, also did permits for air pollution as well. So very knowledgeable, especially for the state of Florida, in terms of our water, environmental, wetland, air permitting rules and regulation, and some of the policies and things that go into how to get policies enacted. So with that, let's go ahead into our course. So I'm going to go ahead and share screen here, so that way you can see what I'm seeing. All right, so you should see our course here. This is, again, the homepage to Energy Society. The announcement section will automatically pop up. So for instance, here's a quick intro about me. And then I posted a quick little kind of intro welcoming you to the class and encouraging to kind of look through the course before I do this recording here. So if you go to course menu and go to learning modules. All right, here you will, on your left-hand side here, you'll see a whole bunch of table of contents here, a start here, assignment information and all the modules listed. So if you go to start here, this is a good place, of course, to start. This is a good place to look at your syllabus, so what's due for each module or each week. Information here about turn it in, looking for any plagiarism or anything. General questions, so if you click this, you can ask a general question. Just know that everybody sees the question, so I wouldn't post something like, hey, professor, why did I get a 20 on my assignment? Because we all know that you got a 20. So what I would do, of course, is email me or text me individually about that. And but anyway, if you have any general questions that you don't mind your classmates knowing, just go ahead and go ahead and use that here. Another thing I wanted to point out, again, going to the announcements section, and particularly looking at my announcement, introducing myself. Make sure you take a look here because there is good information here about my LinkedIn. So if you are want to connect with me through LinkedIn, I encourage you to do so. You can also read again what I just kind of described, my quick little background here. And then more importantly, my contact information. So feel free to email me, call, or text me at any time. If you do call, I may not pick up because I don't recognize the number, but I will get back to you, of course, as soon as I can. So that's just one quick thing as well. All right, so let's go ahead into module 1. So what's due for this week? So go ahead and click on module 1. And here is just a basic energy fundamentals. We'll just talk about the basics of energy and power, look at some of the US uses of energy, and look at how our population growth is going to play a major role in how we use energy, how we're going to get our energy in terms of fossil fuel versus renewable alternative use sources of energy. So a whole bunch of different things. So here's the introduction to the course topics here. So again, looking at the learning objectives, we're going to recognize energy, power, capacity. We're going to examine different types of energy sources, electric fuels and residential versus industrial, and how factors, again, like power or population growth, is going to affect our usage and how our standard of living. The overview is just that, an overview of everything. So again, energy fundamentals. So when you are reading the required readings and the videos and articles, you might want to ask yourself, what are some of the sources, currently sources of energy that we use? Have we hit peak production of oil yet? And what year do we think we hit peak production? How does our government subsidize energy? And are all energy types treated fairly? Because they really aren't. What percent of electricity comes from renewable versus our fossil fuels? We want to eventually have more renewable than we do fossil fuels. So what is that percentage here? So again, so think about this. And there's also a couple simple equations here looking at how we calculate power, especially looking at your utility bills. Your readings for this week. So if you go to readings and resources, here you'll be reviewing chapters 1 and 2, but only specific sections. So in chapter 1, take a look at section 1.1, 1.3, and 1.4. And then in chapter 2, you're going to look at section 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3. There's some great information here in terms of websites, and this will help with your assignments and discussion as well. So the EIA, which is the Energy Information Administration, they have a great article or website here about what is energy. Lawrence Livermore Lab has some energy flow charts, so you'll be using this for your discussion that we'll take a look at in a second. Some other information from the EIA about energy facts explained, and then looking at capacity factors by fuel types as well. And then wind power, so looking at what happens when the wind doesn't blow. So looking at wind energy and wind turbines, and what is the cost benefit ratio? Is it worth looking at wind as a potential renewable energy source? And then a video here about filling up. It's a quick 2-minute national public radios or an NPR about the history of population growth, which you'll use for your discussion assignment as well. Here's some additional support, and you might want to use these for maybe potentially your final paper, is looking at going zero carbon, but will slow climate change, and then looking at the energy problem as well. So again, those are your required readings for this week. Your assignments, so you have 2 assignments. You have a discussion as well as a journal. Your discussion, you introduce yourself. So who are you? Maybe what state do you live in? What is your declared degree? What do you plan to do after you graduate with your degree? Maybe you want to talk about some family life, you know, if you're a parent or anything personal you don't mind sharing with us, that'd be great. Just kind of that way we get to know you. And then you're going to watch, again, that NPR short video. I think it's only maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And it illustrates the rate and demographics of world population since the year 1000. And then you can take a look at the graph from Lawrence Livermore National Lab. So in your opinion, again, you're going to address this in your initial post. In your opinion, how will continued population growth at the rate you observed in the video affect energy production and consumption around the world? What do you think will happen to the prices of energy resources as a result of an increased population and energy consumption? So your initial post is going to be due by Thursday of this week, and your 2 follow-up responses are due by Sunday. And then you have a journal assignment to do. So here we're going to look at capacity factor, a very important and sometimes overlooked link in our overview of energy production. So understanding how this measure of actual energy production works will help you really understand and appreciate energy production as well as delivery systems. So take a look at this article called Wind Power, Capacity Factor, Immency, and What Happens When the Wind Doesn't Blow. And this provides a great overview over looking at one renewable energy source, which is wind energy. So once you read the article, you're going to review the chart, and here's a link right here to U.S. capacity factors by fuel type. And you're going to write a 1 or 2 page synopsis of article or an assignment here, and you're going to address these 3 prompts here. So you're going to explain in your understanding what does the term capacity factor and efficiency means in terms of energy production. What are your impressions of capacity factors for the various renewable and non-renewable fuel types listed in the NEI chart? Does anything jump out at you or surprise you? And then when you begin to consider your energy mix for the US for your upcoming final paper, which we'll get to here in a little bit, do you think you'll take those capacity factors into account? So again, this assignment, make sure you follow this rubrics and guideline link here so that it tells you what to hit in terms of what to address in your paper, and you should do fine with that. And that assignment is due Sunday. And then you have a final project. This is due in week 7. So if you have any questions or anything, you can post any in the general questions, but make sure you read the guidelines and rubric. I'm not going to go over it right now because I know this is a lot of information for the first week. Probably next week I'll take a look and address it here in the recording, but just kind of review it and understand what to do for the final project. So again, just to recap, your initial discussion introducing yourself and your opinion about population growth and energy production, your initial post due on Thursday, your 2 follow-up responses due by Sunday, and then the 1.2 journal capacity factor assignment that also is due by Sunday. Let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to some great discussions and meeting you all online.